So let's talk about managing users in an Ubuntu server environment. So we're going to look at adding and removing users. And let's start with this. Let's start by looking at where our user information is stored. And it is going to be stored in a file. I'm going to cat the file so it'll display the contents of the file. And it's in the etc passwd or password file. And this shows all of our user information. And so here you'll see this line is my user account. X is where the password would go. You see the user ID, the group ID, the home directory, the default shell is bin bash. So that shows me where my user information is. My password information is going to be in /etc/shadow. Now I was able to cat etc passwd, but I don't have permission to cat the etc shadow. So I'm going to sudo cat /etc/shadow, and that should show me the file once I give my sudo password. And here we go, same thing. So here's my user account, and then you'll see colons separating the different fields here. And as you look at that, you'll see the password and then or a hash of the password more accurately. And then you'll see some password information there. We'll look at that a little bit later. All right, if I want to add a user to it, the command is useradd. So this is what it would look like. It's going to be sudo, and I'm going to type useradd. I'm going to do a /d, which that's my home directory, and let me create a user for Alex Smith. So I want /home/a Smith for Alex Smith. And then because that doesn't already exist, that'll set it, right? I'll create the user, it'll say this would be the user's home directory, but it won't create the directory for me. So I'm going to do a -m, which is going to tell it to make it, and then I'm going to specify a Smith as the user account, and that will create my user. So if I cat etc password, there we go, I'll see a Smith there is now a user. If let me sudo this one, cat /etc/shadow, we're going to see a Smith, but you're going to see that exclamation point there. It means I don't have a password set for Alex Smith yet. So to set that, I would use the command I'm going to have to sudo this, passwd, and then I want to do the password for Alex Smith, so it'll be a Smith. And I'll set his new password, and $34, and there's my password. So now if I cat that file, we'll see a password is now set for Alex Smith. Okay, so we've created the user, we set the password. If I do let me clear the screen, do ls/home directory, we'll also see that we have a folder there for Alex Smith. Let me do ls-l because I like the look of that a little bit better. There's a directory for Alex Smith. Okay, so we've created a user. Pretty straightforward. Now there's another way to do it. The command useradd is what creates it. There is a shell script that exists in some versions of Linux or some distros of Linux, but not in all of them, and it's add user. And so I want to add a user, and I'm going to create another user here, and let's do this one as John Jameson. Okay, whoops. Sudo, and if you type a command and forget to put sudo in front of it, if you do sudo and then 2 exclamation points, or bangs as they're sometimes called, so sudo bang bang, that will re-execute the command using the sudo in front of it. So now this one does several things for me. So we added a user, J. Jameson, we added a new group, we added the new user to that group, we created a home directory, we copied files from etc we'll talk about that at another time, and now it's giving us the option to create a password. So this is doing a whole bunch of things for us automatically that we did manually before. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the password, And there we go. Now it's asking for full name. Let's do Jamie Jameson, and then a room number and a work number and a home phone number and any other information. And yes, and that creates the user for us. But this shell script did a whole bunch of other things for us as well. So let me clear the screen and let's cat etc password / etc password, and there's our account for J. Jameson. Same thing, we'll sudo cat etc shadow, and there is our J. Jameson account as well. So there we go. That's a couple of different ways to add a user. Now, I showed you how we could use the, clear the screen here, passwd, and then I have to sudo that one. Sudo password and change a user's password. I can also do -S, and that will show me the password information. So J. Jameson, that capital P means there is a valid password. The account can be used. The date the password was created, how many days until they can change the password, that's 0. The 99999 is how many days until the password expires. And the 7 is how many days before the password expires will they get a notification that they need to change their password. We'll play with that a little bit more later. So let's talk about removing a user. Let's say I want to get rid of a user. So I'm going to remove J. Jameson. So our command is userdel. Forgot I have to sudo that one. Userdel or user delete. And I'm just going to delete J. Jameson. And that takes out my user. So if I cat etc password, we're going to see J. Jameson is gone. Same thing if we, actually let me sudo cat etc shadow. J. Jameson is gone. But one of the things I want you to see here, do an ls-l/home. So I deleted the user J. Jameson, but the folder is still there. So when you delete a user, it does not take out their home folder. And that actually can be really useful because those files there are still saved. If you had any user files on the system, I can still access them. I can move those to an archive, leave them there wherever I want to put those, but I still have access to all of their files even though I deleted the users. Okay, there we go. That's how we can add and remove users on an Ubuntu server system.